Sometimes, quiet hurts more than yelling. Sometimes, just one look can break years of trust. And sometimes, the person who loves you most can hurt you the deepest. That's how my story started, not with big fights or shouting, just a slow, quiet change. I didn't see it until it was too late. Anyway, before I get into it, you know the drill. My name is Tom. I'm 48, living in Ohio. 3 years ago, after 14 years of marriage, I got divorced. I have 2 kids, a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. I work as an engineer. For years, my life was all about home and family. Maybe I was the typical dad. My wife, Sarah, was full of life. We got married right after college. Once the kids came, life sped up. But then something shifted. I never really knew when it started, because cheating doesn't usually happen overnight. It sneaks into your life quietly, and before you know it, it's made itself comfortable while you still think everything's safe. The first sign was on a normal evening. I came home from work like always. Sarah was sitting in the living room corner. She quickly flipped her phone face down. Usually, I wouldn't have thought twice, but this time felt different. There was something in her eyes, empty, like she wasn't really there. "Is everything okay?" I asked. She smiled, but it wasn't her real smile. It felt fake, like a mask. "Just tired," she said. The rest of the night was quiet, but that quiet ate away at me. In the weeks that followed, it only got worse. Sarah talked less, went out more, work meetings, late nights, girls' nights. The kids didn't notice, but I couldn't sleep anymore. There was a knot in my stomach. One day, that knot came undone. Sarah was in the bathroom when a message popped up on her phone. A name flashed, Mike. "Dreaming of you again tonight." I froze. Mike was a married guy she worked with. That's all I knew. Later that night, while she was making tea in the kitchen, I couldn't hold it in. "Who's Mike?" I asked. Her eyes went wide. The mug almost slipped. "What are you talking about?" "Your phone. Dreaming of you again tonight." The air felt thick. She swallowed hard. Silence. Then, "Tom, we need to talk." We sat down. Everything came out slowly. Her sentences were short, but they hit hard. "Yes, I got close to someone," she said. I didn't ask how many times or when it started. I just stayed quiet. I felt stupid, used, but I tried to stay calm. We had kids, a home, a life. "Is it over?" I asked. "I think so," she said. "I mean, I don't know." That "I don't know" broke something in me. It really meant, you're not enough for me anymore. This might already be over. And in that moment, the word divorce popped into my head for the first time. Sarah cried for a week. She apologized, said it was just a mistake, a moment of weakness. But I decided never to forget that another man had walked into my life through her cheating. It's not just about the physical thing, it's about trust. And once that's gone, there's no going back. The divorce went easier than I thought. Sarah didn't fight anything, the kids, the house, the money. She agreed to it all. The only thing she really cared about was the kids, and I respected that. We were both broken, but we tried to be civil, at least for them. Months went by. Loneliness became my constant companion. But slowly, the pain faded into a kind of quiet peace. Almost a year after the divorce, I met a woman named Lisa at a friend's party. She was also divorced and had a young daughter. At first, we just talked. We had a lot in common. Our hurts were similar. Her laugh made me feel strangely calm. It wasn't a big love story, not at the start. But there was a connection, a feeling of trust, a sense of peace. One evening, while we were walking, Lisa asked, "Do you want to tell your kids about me?" In that moment, the past and the future crashed together in my head. I hesitated, then decided honesty was the best way. I texted Sarah, "There's someone I'm thinking of introducing to the kids soon. Just wanted you to know." A few minutes later, my phone rang. It was Sarah, crying. "I never thought you'd be with someone else," she said. I wanted to say, "But you already were with someone else." But I didn't, because she's still their mother, and deep down, it still hurt. Sarah cried that day, then got angry, then apologized. Hours later, she texted, "I deserve this." My relationship with Lisa grew slowly and carefully. I didn't have big expectations, but over time, I felt something real starting to bloom. When I visited her home, seeing her daughter's drawings on the wall, smelling the coffee, there was a certain peace. The feeling of belonging I thought I'd lost was slowly coming back. One day, Lisa said to me, "You have scars, but you keep moving forward." "That's strong, Tom." I smiled, but deep down, I knew I was still broken. The past has a way of whispering even on the quietest nights. After I told Sarah about Lisa, something changed between us. We still talked about the kids, but every message felt heavy with unspoken resentment. Sometimes she hinted that she missed me. Other times, she blamed me. "You moved on so fast," she'd say. "I haven't even looked at anyone." Once, when I dropped the kids off, she opened the door with red, puffy eyes. "I didn't say anything to them," she said. "Me neither," I replied. Then she added, "I don't know. It still feels like you're mine." I didn't answer because, at that point, I didn't even feel like I belonged to myself. I wasn't just a divorced man. I was a man who had lost his sense of who he was. At night, Lisa's words echoed in my head. "You have scars, but you keep walking." Walking. Sometimes it frustrated me how much Sarah could still affect me. But the kids, they were always there, in the middle. They had become my guide. I wanted to be a good dad for them. That's why I was taking things slow with Lisa. But Sarah's emotional ups and downs started to affect Lisa too. One night, on the balcony, Lisa asked, "Did Sarah cry again?" "Yes," I said. "Tom," she said, her voice serious, "I try to avoid drama. I understand you share kids with her, but this is about boundaries. You shouldn't have to carry her guilt. It's affecting me too. If we're going to move forward, the past can't sit at the table with us." Silence. And for the first time, I asked myself, have I really left the past behind? That same week, Sarah texted, "It's not about the kids. I just need to talk to someone." We met at a cafe. When our eyes met, I saw that same emptiness, that same confusion. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," she said. "I just want you to know Mike is gone. Months ago, he moved away. And I gave up everything. I'm broke. Even my family won't help me anymore." I stayed quiet. I didn't know what to say. Then she added, "I always thought I'd come back. Like this was just a break. You're still in our home. Our things are still there. I thought I was just lost, and you were waiting for me." That sentence cut deep. "Sarah," I said, "you didn't just break me. You broke our family. And some things can't be fixed the way they were." For the first time, she didn't cry. No tears, just an empty look. She nodded slowly. "I guess I really did lose everything." When I got up from that table, my shoulders felt lighter. For the first time, I walked away without feeling sorry for her. For the first time, I felt like the past wasn't pulling me back. Maybe that was a kind of freedom. That night, I told Lisa everything Sarah had said, how I felt. Lisa just smiled and said, "You're not living in the past anymore, Tom. Maybe for the first time, you're really here now." The next week, we took the kids to the park. Lisa's daughter came too. We ate ice cream, played jump rope, laughed. The kids connected quickly, especially my younger daughter, Lily. She grabbed Lisa's daughter's arm and said, "Come on, let me show you the slide." I felt a warmth inside me I hadn't felt in years. Maybe that was a miracle too, a small, quiet, everyday kind of miracle. Sarah was quiet for a few weeks, no calls, no texts. One day, when I dropped off the kids, she simply asked, "How are you?" "I'm good," I said. "That woman. Is it going well with her?" "Yes." She looked down. "Hope she's good to the kids. She might not be as sensitive a mother as you are, but she's a good person." "I see that." That short exchange held a whole world. Acceptance, loneliness, and maybe a little regret. Sarah's silence lasted a month. Around that time, Lisa and I started talking about making things more permanent. "There's a sense of peace with you," Lisa said. "I can actually imagine a future. But peace never lasts long when the weight of the past is still there." One morning, as I was about to take the kids to school, my phone rang. It was Sarah. Her voice was cold. "I'll pick up the kids today. I have plans." "What plans?" I asked. "I'm taking them to my parents' place. I'm going out of town for 3 days." I got suspicious. "Are they going with you?" "No, I'm going alone. I just need to get away. Some time to think." I cut in. "Sarah, this is something we should have talked about. The kids are more important than your suitcase." She didn't respond. She just hung up. That evening, Lily cried. "Mom is really sad. She keeps crying," she said. My son, Max, was quiet. When I asked him something, he just shrugged. Sarah's mental state was starting to affect the kids. This wasn't just about regret anymore. It was a downward spiral. Lisa saw what was happening. Her face turned serious. The kids' emotional well-being should come before her therapy journey. If you don't do something, you'll be dealing with a much bigger storm soon. A week later, something happened I never expected. The school counselor called. Mr. Tom, Max has been withdrawn lately. His teachers have noticed he's been saying things that suggest his mother is putting emotional pressure on him. I went numb. What should I do? I asked. We're going to do an assessment. It might be appropriate to involve a family counselor, and if needed, we may need to contact social services. This wasn't just a threat to Sarah anymore. It was an emergency for my kids. That night, Lisa and I talked. Sarah's not in the right place to take care of the kids, I said. Are you thinking about full custody? Lisa asked for the first time. Yes, I said. I called Sarah over. I made sure the kids were somewhere else. She sat at the other end of the table, tired, disheveled, like a stranger. The kids' school called, I said. What happened? She asked. Max and Lily's mental health is being affected by your emotional state. I'm just scattered. Don't blame me, Sarah said, her voice weak. The kids are not part of your healing journey. They're not your burden. You are responsible for them. Sarah was silent at first. Then she buried her face in her hands and started to cry. I told you I ruined everything, but I don't know what to do anymore. I'd seen her cry before, but for the first time, there was real fear in her eyes. Sarah, I said gently, if you're not getting help, we can't go on like this. The kids are being harmed. That week, I went to my lawyer and filed for a temporary custody change. Sarah was notified. That day, Lisa pulled back for the first time. Don't get me wrong, she said, but this is more complicated than I imagined. If being with me is complicated, I said, you are free to leave. Lisa shook her head. I don't want to leave. I just want things to be resolved. So did I, but life has a way of holding back the very things we want most. 2 days later, I called Sarah to drop off the kids. She didn't answer. I texted, no reply. Panic set in. I called her mother. Sarah isn't here with us, she said. At that moment, my fatherly instincts took over. I couldn't let anything put my children in danger. I called the police. Can I file a missing person report? I asked. Since this is a civil matter, there's limited assistance we can provide, they said. An hour later, Sarah called back. I came to the cabin. I just wanted to be alone, she said. In that moment, I reached the edge of my anger, but I didn't yell. If you ever take the kids without telling me again, that will be the last time, I said. That night, Lisa was visibly upset. Try to understand me, Tom. I love you, but I can't live a life that's constantly controlled by her drama. Always being on edge, managing the kids' emotional states, that's not who I am. Are you saying you want to leave? I asked. No, but if we're going to be together, you have to completely close the chapter on your past. Otherwise, I'll start to close too. It was in that moment that I realized I had to make a real decision. I didn't just need to let go of the past. I had to let go of Sarah. Court day came. Sarah looked heartbroken as she walked in. When it was her turn to speak, she only said, I loved my kids, but I know I've hurt them. Tom is a good father. I'm going to get help. The judge granted me temporary custody. Sarah was given only supervised visits. That day, we took a walk in the forest with the kids. Sunlight filtered through the trees. Max held my hand. Lily smiled. Lisa walked behind us, and for the first time, I was completely present. Not haunted by the ghost of what was, not anxious about what might be, but simply there, holding my son's hand, watching my daughter's joy, feeling the quiet strength of the woman walking behind us. The forest felt like a sanctuary, the sunlight a gentle blessing. The weeks that followed weren't a fairy tale. There were still hard days, moments when the old hurt would flicker, especially around visitation days. But there was a fundamental shift. Sarah started attending therapy, and while our interactions remained focused on the children, there was a noticeable difference, a quiet acceptance, a lack of the old accusations and veiled longing. Lisa became a steady anchor. She was patient with my lingering anxieties, understanding of the need to prioritize my children. She didn't try to erase the past, but she helped me build a new present. Her daughter and my kids formed a tentative but growing bond, a messy, real kind of connection built on shared ice cream cones and whispered secrets. One evening, months later, after the kids were asleep, Lisa and I were sitting on her porch. The night air was cool, filled with the chirping of crickets. She took my hand, her gaze steady. You know, she said softly, you carry so much less weight now. I thought about that. She was right. The constant tension, the fear of the phone ringing with Sarah's distress, the tight knot in my chest, it had eased. It hadn't vanished entirely, but it no longer defined me. It's because of you. I admitted, my voice rough with emotion. You showed me that there could be something after the wreckage. She smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached her eyes. We showed each other, she corrected gently. We both had our broken pieces. Time continued its slow march. The legal proceedings for full custody moved forward, met with less resistance from Sarah than I had anticipated. Her focus seemed to be on getting well, on rebuilding herself. It was a strange kind of relief, tinged with a lingering sadness for the woman she used to be. One Saturday, the kids were at Lisa's, building a fort in the living room. Lisa was in the kitchen, humming softly as she made pancakes. I watched them, a sense of quiet contentment washing over me. Lily giggled as she draped a blanket over the makeshift roof. Max offered a serious suggestion about structural integrity, and Lisa's daughter, Maya, mediated a minor dispute over a pillow. In that moment, surrounded by the joyful chaos, I realized something profound. The deepest wounds can leave scars, but they don't have to define the landscape of your future. Love, in its different forms, the fierce love for your children, the quiet understanding of a new partner, can indeed begin to heal even the deepest breaks. The silence wasn't always loud anymore. Sometimes it was just quiet, a peaceful quiet, filled with the sounds of a new life being built, brick by fragile brick.